Everybody to our meeting tonight. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, 5:30. This meeting has been publicized according to the Oklahoma laws, so we're legit. Looks like we have all the councilmen here, save Councilman Baird. We make note of that on the minutes. If he's missing, hopefully he'll come a little later. And as far as the opening ceremony, okay, Councilman Busenbarg will give us an opening prayer, and then we'll go ahead and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, so very grateful to gather as citizens of Roosevelt City as well as the council. We ask that thy spirit be with us as we make decisions concerning the city, that we may strive to do what is best for the citizens of this great city of Roosevelt. We're so grateful for the opportunity we have to serve, and especially grateful for those that live in the city of Roosevelt. It's such a great place to live, and we hope and pray that we'll always be able to enjoy this community, that will always strive to do what is best for this community. We're grateful for all thy many blessings, and we say this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
If I would have thought I'd had you lead us, anytime you're here, it's your job. Thank you. All right, first item is the minutes of the last meeting.
We had a mistake on the roll call. Councilman Allen and Councilman Flower were in attendance, but were not listed in the roll call. And the one motion, I believe, was Councilman Baird that was asked about, that they didn't get on the canine surplus.
Okay.
I asked Councilman White, and he didn't remember doing it, so I'm pretty sure it was Councilman Baird.
Gotcha. You have those amendments?
Yes.
Are there any other corrections that need to be made? And I'll do a better job of restating the motions in the seconds, because I know that's helpful, and sometimes I forget, so. Do we have a motion to approve with the amendments?
I'll move we approve.
Second. Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Busenbarg and a second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. We do have our public comment period. Anybody wanting to address the council can take up to 3 minutes. We just ask that you come and state your name here at the pulpit. So are there any tonight that would like to do that?
Thank you. My name is Dan Karen. I'm here to address the council about the possibility of some zoning changes or some possibilities of mini homes going into the future. I was talking to Commissioner Hanson about that earlier today, and she just sent me a text that Berlin's having their meeting this evening, first meeting about the same thing. It's kind of a coordinated thing, I guess, or coincidental, we're doing it at the same time. They're anticipating changing their manufactured home ordinances to include mini homes. The thing that got me here tonight is with an addiction recovery home that's in our community, many of the men that are coming out of there after we get them sober, and after 4 to 6 months in there, we're having a hard time placing with housing. We've had good results with employers around the Roosevelt area offering jobs, but the biggest hurdle we have now is placing them in housing. And along with that, the possibility of the railroad coming. I just did a staging area for Summit Lines out of Heber. There's a high transmission line going in south of us starting this spring, approximately 30 minutes south of Mighton. They can have up to 250 to 300 employees here by September and October. Their main focus will be Soldier Summit during the summer, and as the fall weather moves in, they'll be moving closer to our area. That and visiting with Ben Allred and other people that have a lot of rentals in the area. There's nothing available rental-wise right now. I'd just like to plant the seed maybe for the council to start considering certain areas in the city that might be suitable for such a thing, and with guidelines and whatever needs to be established to make it a feasible thing. I think it's happening around the country. I think we'll get left out if we don't come up with some way of accommodating these workers and a place for them to stay. who are here and people that are here permanently. I checked with Ben Allred on the cost of what he did, those many homes behind Maverick 4 down there. We can build approximately 12 of those with the same amount of money to build one single dwelling home in our community, and 12 would obviously house 24 men, where one home was in a house, one family. So any questions that I could answer, I would be happy to. The need is there. I understand it's a rezoning situation. It's a change. There's a need there. If you build a house, certainly that it's building a house right now, you know that most homes are 500,000, the basics. Appreciate the council for your service, for your time, and for considering this situation that's in our community this time.
Thanks, Ben. And I know that Councilman White and I had a brief conversation. We've been approached by a couple different people with the same ideas and concerns. I think we've talked to Dean a little bit with our building inspector. I think it's definitely something that we want to entertain and figure out how best to do that. And so I think to start, we would want to get it on a planning and zoning a meeting and have the planning and zoning look at that, and would welcome any that have input. I know, Lynn, you're on planning and zoning, so you could give input on that as well, and just see how we can do this in a way that's helpful and still good for the city. Helpful for those that are needing those homes, especially not only the people that you're talking about coming out of the recovery home, but young married couples that can't afford a $500,000 home. Where are they going to get their start? And so definitely something that we want to look at. But any others that would like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward. Appreciate those comments. Our first item tonight is a public hearing. So we have a resolution 2022-307, which will be amending the consolidated fee schedule. And Sunshine and Dustin are going to explain. It's not the whole fee schedule. It's just a couple of fees within that schedule. So I'll turn the time over.
Mayor, do we need a motion to go into public, or are they going to talk about it first?
Let's have them discuss first, and then
I was trying to remember the order. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay, so we just want to change a couple of things. Dustin will talk about some parks fees that were not on the previous schedule that need to be added. My items I want to address would be some general fee schedule revisions. So we have our research fee with the 1 hour minimum on the old schedule. Actually, per state code, we're not allowed to charge for the first 15 minutes of our time fulfilling the grammar request. So I just wanted to remove that 1 hour minimum notation there. Also previously, when some of us were also learning what to do, and we approved the animal shelter fee schedule, that should have been done through a resolution. It wasn't. We still had all the appropriate public comment periods and all of those things, but it still wasn't done through a resolution, and it needs to be. So that's part of this amendment, is to just officially include the already approved animal shelter fee schedule in this resolution. Oh, and also there was a flat fee for fire reports, and fire reports are also obtained under GRAMA, and those definitely take 15 minutes. So again, it felt, we shouldn't have a flat fee there when they're going to be subject to those same laws. So unless you have any questions about the general items, I'll turn the time over to Dustin.
Are there any other changes besides the ones that you mentioned and the one that Dustin's going to bring forward?
Not aside from what Dustin will be presenting. Most of the changes were to the Parks Department fee schedule.
Okay.
Everything else is just me trying to format and make it look nicer.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sunshine.
All right, as Sunshine stated, that we're looking to update our fee schedule. For some reason, last time this was done, it wasn't put in. So we looked at the fee schedule for the Pavilion reservation fee, and we kind of would like to change the way it is and make a new proposed Pavilion reservation fee. It is proposed that we change the current fees from a group use fee of $50 to for under 50 people, or for, over 100 people, it's $100. And we're looking to change that to just to a flat rate regardless of group size. And the proposed flat rate is $50 even. And that will include all 4 pavilions at Roosevelt City. It's also proposed that inflatable bouncers will be charged $25 per inflatable in addition to the reservation fee. And fee charges for damage and stress caused by inflatables on the grass, sprinklers, sprinkler heads, and irrigation pipe. And so that's just kind of a starting point. It's $50. Did some research with some neighboring cities and other cities our size. And the flat rate was most commonly used instead of by per how many your group or party size was. Sunshine had some great research as well, and she was able to find other cities, not necessarily our size, but in the state of Utah, the majority of them went to the flat rate fee of $50. Any questions or comments about $50 flat fee?
I think it makes sense.
And those flat fees can range from 20 to 50. Some of them are higher, but I think 50 is fair for everybody. And that also helps us to do our job. I mean, there's definitely some cleanup, some supplies that we need to help us keep the pavilion looking nice. Every fall, we repaint the tables, we get new hardware, new whatever we need to do to keep them nice. So I think that $50 would go a long ways. Let's keep it nice.
Excellent. All right. Any questions for Dustin? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin. With that, would entertain a motion to go into public hearing to receive public
I
comment.
move that we can go into public hearing.
Motion by Councilman Roosevelt,
Second.
second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll consider ourselves in the public hearing. Are there any comments or members of the public that would like to comment or ask questions on proposed changes to the fee schedule? Goodness, that's why I thought all of you are here. Okay. Would entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Okay, by Councilman White, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
By Councilman Rosenbart. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll consider ourselves back in a regular session. Now that we've got the public hearing through the public hearing, we do have the opportunity to approve that resolution as well as our.
What are the red lines through girls softball and red mud run and those kind of things?
Those are no longer applicable fees. They're, just events that aren't being managed by the city anymore, so we don't need them on our fee schedule.
Is that part of this resolution to take those out?
Yes, anything, so what I provided in the packet there is, the old resolution and showing anything that I removed from it. And then also up on the screen, we have the new resolution, which is almost identical, save for those red line items.
Any other questions?
I'll move we approve with the changes to the fee schedule based on the recommendation of Sunshine and Dustin.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Cloward. Yes?
Yeah.
I've known Rowdy a long time, but I've known him as Rowdy. And Cloward just seems different. All right, so second by Councilman Cloward. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And resolution adopted. So next we have the Employee of the Month. And I won't give it away immediately. I'll read first. So I won't read her name or his name until the very end. So since the kidnapping incident this week, this individual has been instrumental in dealing with the media, freeing up me up to address other issues, and this is from Chief Watkins. She worked many days and nights in communication with me, making sure the correct information was vetted and then given. She was instrumental in the meetings with the family and understood the necessity of getting PSAs, which are public service announcements, out to the public to educate our residents on the danger of virtual reality devices and apps, as well as other internet dangers parents should be aware of. Sunshine was always there and ready to address any issue that came up. Oh, I just said it. I am also impressed by her initiative in getting educational information out to our citizens. Sunshine is a self-motivated, forward-thinking employee that Roosevelt City is blessed to have and to help make our police department look good, which I agree with.
Thanks.
Sunshine is self-motivated. This is from Rhonda Goodrich, and holds herself to a very high standard of conduct. She is willing to go the extra mile and works extremely well with others, both coworkers and the public at large. She can identify procedures and processes where there is room for improvement, as we've seen tonight with our fee schedules, and will research and educate herself to discover the best solution available. Then, most importantly, she will follow through to full completion. I'm so very happy to have Sunshine on our team and have full confidence she will continue to strive for excellence as we serve the community to the best of our ability. So Sunshine, you are the employee of the month. Congratulations. And we have a few gifts for you. Yes, you have. You don't have to get your picture taken if you don't want. We have to. Oh, do we have a fancy Santa? I'll just do this. He's taking.
Oh, great,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry. Yeah. Did she tell you you didn't have to do it tonight? She'd take care of it?
No, just confused me with other things. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate all you do. So, just so everyone is aware, we do have, and that's something our staff administration has put in place as the employee of the month, and it's been good to build camaraderie and just good feelings amongst the group, and appreciate all they do, so. And thanks again, Sunshine.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We were approached not too long ago by a member of our Interfaith Council, Kent. He's with us tonight. And the Interfaith Council is something that was instituted or created, I guess, or initiated by the city. And then, they've just kind of been left to themselves to run. And they were wanting a little more structure and support and organizational help from the city. And so we sat down and discussed that with Kent and a few others, and decided it would be best to try to come up with a resolution to add a little structure to that. And so, Kent, do you have anything that you would like to mention about the Interfaith Council, some of the things that you've done? We do have the resolution, and we would like to have definitely feedback from you and others that are part of that group.
So I'll just take a second.
Yeah.
You got you down for 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Well, thanks. The Interfaith Council is right now a totally volunteer few that meet, and we try to provide service to the city. And we do that with a faith-based agenda. It's it's not structured very solidly. So this resolution, I don't know, it's like anything you start. We're not a very big city, and we don't have very many people that volunteer for this, and it's a lot of work. And I think that we have a lot of issues in our community that need to be addressed, and we have evidence of that this year more than ever. I think a faith-based approach will be helpful. But mostly, I just want to say that I appreciate the city and council just even thinking about this. I think you're volunteering for a little more work, and so are we. And as long as you're aware of that and we're aware of that, I think we'll go forward in a proper way. Thanks.
Thank you. So, just for the record, there were a few of us when we were elected. We had zoning committee and the housing authority board, and now we have. If we adopt this one, we'll have 6 committees. And that is a lot of work, but we love to have the feedback and work with the community members in the decision-making process. And so we appreciate your interest in what you do and partnering with the city to do this. And I know, I think the city's intent was to have coordination amongst all the different faiths in the area and to promote good relations amongst those different faiths. And we want to continue to do that in a way that no one faith would feel intimidated to come and participate. And that's why we wanted to have it more but just more sponsored by the city, so that everybody felt like it was the city's, and it is the city's council, and feel comfortable coming and knowing that there's not going to be a lot of proselyting going back and forth amongst the groups, but it's just a way for them to come together and organize themselves and promote faith and good standards in our community. So with that, Grant has done a really good job. Grant, you want to go ahead and take some time and explain some of the things that so we created a resolution for most of our committees, and then we tweak it a little bit. And so Grant's going to explain some of the things that we've adjusted for this committee to hopefully make it work.
It follows the format of the other resolutions pretty closely. And for the purpose, we've got to foster goodwill and harmony among Roosevelt City residents and visitors, promote the spiritual well-being of Roosevelt City residents and visitors, expand and enhance the ecclesiastical and/or faith-based and/or spiritual involvement opportunities for the residents of Roosevelt City. For the appointment of membership, because we wanted there to be equal representation, and it doesn't specifically say that there will be equal representation from all the different faiths or spiritual viewpoints. And that can be kind of hard to do. So ultimately, the mayor's the one who makes the appointment with the advice and consent of council. And so it falls to him to determine what he thinks equal representation will be. It is called for a minimum of 3 members, and it's anticipated that the initial appointments would be at least 3. There is no maximum on this. To deal with the uncertain number of members, a quorum will just be 3 at all times. The terms will be for 3 years, that the mayor will have the ability to, in order to stagger terms initially, to make the initial appointments of anywhere from 1 to 5 years. The mayor makes the appointment. I also put in a provision in case conflict arises that the mayor can remove a member. The basis for that would be either failure to participate or for purposely disrupting the harmony of the committee or acting contrary to the purpose of the committee, which I already read. The powers and duties are listed there in section 3. I won't read all of them to you. They are following a very similar format to the committees that we already have. It calls for monthly meetings at this point. The appointed members would work among themselves to structure the committee and to set meetings. This will be subject to open meetings afterwards initiated by the city. I think that covers probably what you need to know about it, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have a question that I didn't cover.
Are there any questions by the council?
Well, I think it looks good. Thank you, Grant.
Any questions or comments? I know there's a couple on that committee here, that council here. Do you have any concerns with that? Now, it will be subject to open meetings. I can think of that would be, so you'd have to meet, the time and place of your meeting would have to be advertised, and anybody that would want to attend would be welcome to attend. If that makes sense. So that's basically all that means.
There's a lot in there that kind of requires a councilman to be there or somebody that can help us be organized.
Yeah, in any committee we do have, so we have council assignments. So any committee that we create, you'll be assigned one of us.
I think I'm one of them.
Yeah. And so, and probably 2. We like to have 2 representatives. That way, if one can't come, the other one can come, and hopefully And if they both go, we don't have any conflict with there being a quorum, so.
Just for information, if you have a second, the activities, are an example of the activities that we've had is we had a cleanup on 9/11 last year and had over 2,000 people involved.
Yeah.
And that was a great event for our community, and a lot of young people were involved. We have the music in the park once a month during the summer, the little park down by the bell tower. Cleanups. And so those are the type of things that we're trying to get going, service things.
Yeah, and I think that's a good fit for, the city tries to do a city beautification each spring when we have the free dump days and things like that. I think that would be a perfect, fit for that council, Interfaith Council and the city in conjunction to really get the word out. And just like you guys did last year, but working with the city as well and with the other government entities where we have free dump days and doing that. We have walking paths and things like that we're working on that we could, that are more, we want to get the community more involved with those types of activities and projects. We have ball fields that we're going to build. We want to have participation from the community on, and I see this as just a way to hopefully break down some of those barriers and walls that we have. So my suggestion too is if this is approved, we draw up a letter that basically states the purpose of the committee and everything else, and get it to every faith that known faith within our area, within city limits at least, and see what kind of participation we can get, and then make the appointments and go from there. So.
I think there may have been another question.
Yes, Rebecca.
Under the be it resolved, it's not updated. It still says that it's the Parks and Arts.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
See, that's why we have so many eyes look at this. Thanks for mentioning that. And like I said, it is, and I got that because it is one of those, we thought like, if we're gonna do something, we're gonna do it right the first time, and then we're just gonna use that template.
Yeah, don't recreate the wheel.
All consistent across the board. And Grant's been awesome in drawing up these resolutions and committees, and we've got a pretty good system. Any other comments or things that need to be changed? Now, it just says we don't have a resolution number on. Okay, can we approve it where it's just says Interfaith Council and doesn't have the resolution number on there?
I think, yes, we can.
Well, we have our legal counsel here, so. Okay, so we could technically make a motion to approve this tonight if the council feels comfortable, and then we get moving on sending out some letters, so. I'll leave it up to the council.
I'll move that we approve this.
Okay, and the motion being, the resolution being 2022-318. 308.
2022-3, okay.
Do we have a motion by Councilman Allen? Do we have a second? Okay, by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. And we'll get right on. We'll have sunshine since she's been away a month. Right up some that we can put in and send out to, if we could work in conjunction with you to identify as many religious groups as we possibly can. And in the meantime, we can get the letter drafted. And then once we get that list, we can get it sent out. And at our next meeting, hopefully we'll advertise. That'll give us a month to advertise and everything else and see what kind of response we get. And then at the next meeting, we can appoint members of that committee. And then we'll also have a couple of the council that are assigned by that time, and we'll be off and running. So, okay. All right, committee appointments. Speaking of committees, we have a list of names to either appoint or reappoint, and we're not 100% complete on this, but we have on the different committees, we're 95% there. So we thought we'd just move forward with what we have, and then we'll get the other one or two at our next meeting. For the Arts, Parks, and Recreation, I propose we reappoint Royce Porter, and in the Parks and Sports Subcommittee, reappoint Philip Bertosh in the Recreation Trail Subcommittee, and I would suggest we reappoint Daniel Mockley in the Recreation and Trail Subcommittee. And as new appointments, Jeremy Liberton. Actually, Jeremy Liberton is a reappointment as well. Sorry. So Jeremy Liberton would be, no, he's not. You're right. I was thinking Jeremy Tubbs. Jeremy Liberton would be a new appointment as Parks Sports Subcommittee. Brandon Arnold, a new appointment as Parks and Sports Subcommittee, and Deb Richards under the Arts Subcommittee. And she's here with us tonight, so thanks for being here, Deb. Let's go ahead and I'll entertain a motion on those to begin. That way we don't get too in-depth. Do we have a motion to approve
The
those?
one issue we have on there, Philip Bertosh is actually in the recreation, or it says recreation trails, he's actually in the parks and sports.
In the Parks and Sports, yeah. Thanks for catching that. Okay, aside from that correction,
With that, I'll motion to approve.
Councilman Clower with the motion, do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Allen, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. For the planning and zoning, we have 2 openings there. We actually have one more there, I think, to fill. We didn't get Ruth Ann's seat. We didn't have anybody. Yeah. So Lynn, we're going to ask you and maybe a few others to recruit, because we advertised and we haven't had a lot of response. And so if you can get out there and I'll do the same.
Okay.
But for now, we'd like to reappoint Ren Bagley and Lynn Snow in the Planning and Zoning Commission. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll move we approve.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Busenbark and second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. The Roosevelt Housing Authority, we would like to reappoint Rebecca Pittman, and she's here with us tonight. Thanks for serving there, Rebecca. We really appreciate what you do. And as a new appointment, we've had Ryan Claiborne, says that that's just too much for him to do. So he's resigned. And we would like to, in his stead, appoint our city manager, Joshua Bake. Are there any questions or concerns?
Well, you just threw you under the bus. Not gonna make employee of the month that way, though.
Kill anyone.
I move we approve.
We have a motion by Councilman Busenbark,
I'll second.
second by Councilman Cloward. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Economic Development Committee of Roosevelt. We'd like to, at this time, reappoint Brady Arnold under the, it's not listed here, but he's under our Business and Community Subcommittee, and Cameron Kutch, who is under our Education Subcommittee. He's with Utah State University. So
Cameron Kutch is misspelled. There's no T. It's just C-U-C-H. And I move we approve.
okay. So we have a motion to approve with that correction. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Well, that's all for the committees tonight. As you can see, that's quite a bit of work, and we appreciate, again, our staff for helping us with that. And we'll let the committees know that still have, there's just 1 or 2 openings there. And maybe we can get together as committees and go out and try to recruit some of those people to do that. So, and again, thank all those that have served in those positions and asked for reappointment. We appreciate you, and all those that are coming on board. So, and if we have your emails and your information, so those that are new to the committee will make sure that you're emailed. Deb, for you, our Arts Park and Rec Committee is the first Thursday of every month. Is that correct, Brent? Dustin?
First Thursday.
Okay. And I think it's at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
All right. Next, we have planning and zoning. So we have Dean and Troy here with us tonight. And then we have a couple of, so it just says Dean and Troy, and then it has Dale tried, but I I see, your name again,
Heidi.
Heidi tried with us, Dell's wife, and then I don't see Ron, but, how do you want to work that thing? We can turn the time over to you and Joy.
Joy can present. This all came through zoning, it was all approved without any hesitations or anything else. On Bill's, he had a couple of easements when they came in, and he and Joy got those included in his plat. So everything was approved and good with planning and zoning, so it's just here for approval.
Excellent.
Just looking for some autographs, basically. So that's Heidi's here, but they're splitting their lot with the possibility of building another home to the north or selling it. But that's the intent there. So it's kind of an outdated map. So right here there is an easement. There's a city water meter, like right here by my finger, and it services the Gilberts. So that's an easement that is on this plat. It's not shown on that. And then there's a irrigation line that runs along the right-of-way line there. That this plat creates a PUE for that. So
Cindy, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
And just to add, the reason that meter's so far out, when that was put in, that was the end of the line at that time, or it would have been down on the other person. Been in there.
So those are the only two additions that you don't see on that map that have been made on the Mylar.
Okay. And Lynn, do you have any comments or on this? Everybody felt comfortable?
I wasn't there at that meeting.
It's not the casting.
There you go.
I was out of town.
Any questions from the council? This has already been approved by zoning. Keith, did I see you have a hand up?
Well, I'm just curious, I see it's State Street, but I can't see where on State Street.
South State, so I think it's right before, is it right before the?
Trent Jenkins lives?
Right after the gulch.
The Wait.
On the
The
opposite
Wait.
side.
Kathleen, I think's her name.
Kathy.
Kathy? Yeah. So this is actually county. And this is city, and this is county. So it's about, I don't even know.
And the
It's about 1,600
What's
south.
your pictures?
16 or 17.
So yeah, so
1,600 south.
Kathleen or Kathy Wait lives here and Trent's home's back here.
Mhm.
And the gulch pretty much was that.
The gulch is-
Real dark.
There's a gulch here and a gulch here, and that's where they come across State Street to here. That's about where they're at, sir.
Any questions from the council?
I move we approve on the recommendation from planning and zoning.
We have a motion by Councilman Rosenbark and a second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. I already have it. You all right?
Some church, we had a meeting.
Smart.
And stuff to keep the chair. Somebody in my ward just got. They were in the building. On the first mission was he was the president of the church since then he's been.
You want me to take it or keep it?
Usually get back.
Share my break. There's just a driveway.
Want to be this.
Go to the
So the next one, if you're want to move on,
Yes, sir.
is Ron Middleton's name on it. It's family. So this is
If you want to explain to them that we corrected the property lines, there's kind of some discrepancies. Then they created the easement for the sewer running through there to find that, and then they actually put a property line that they're splitting the parcel off.
so this is 800 South. This is Highway 40. IFA sits up here somewhere. Arvin's home, and then the existing, there's a little white home right here that Diane owns. What Dean is referring to in the city or the county GIS, there was one parcel number for up here, or I assigned it up there, but there was 2 parcels assigned with the same description on them. So that's why it's a boundary line adjustment and not a minor subdivision. But Ron has approached his aunt, and he is wanting to purchase this piece. Diane is going to retain this piece. Arvin's boundary is being adjusted. This is Diane's line over here. So she took in this block building that was Arvin's. Arvin's line got past it, but anyway, so kind of fixing the whole mess. But that's, so those 2 parcels will have individual descriptions, and then Arvin's will be adjusted a little as well.
Well, if it's fixing messes, how can we go wrong with that?
Survey, nobody calls a surveyor when they have it. It's good.
And all parties are,
All parties have signed, like I say, Ron's name's on it. I think he's a silent partner with Diane and Lisa, or Jill, excuse me. But, he is purchasing that north parcel. With the understanding that it stays in the family and a whole bunch of other.
We don't care about that.
Yeah. It was a hot item. There's a little chicken coop right there that's like.
You could check with my lawyer, everybody in the site.
But the other issue is that you guys have a city line. There's a clean out here that is on Phillips, but this easement.
That's a sewer line, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's created with, it's shown, I think
I remember this coming before us a few years ago, and they were cleaning up some of those lines, and it was when we were rezoning from commercial to residential, because they wanted to build a home on that spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were discussing that.
Yeah, went from commercial to R1 too.
Yeah.
On that particular properties.
Any other questions? Seeing none, would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Councilman White, motion, Councilman Boosenbark, the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Make sure we didn't get signed right on. Yeah, you just throw anything in it. So they. This has been.
I don't want to fight.
We've been trying to get this done for 2 months, and it finally came into town from Wyoming, and so we snagged it. Centerton, Winterton. It's all right, so. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Troy.
Thank you.
Robin, thanks for being here with us tonight. We'll turn the time over to you. Northeastern Counseling.
Thank
What do
you.
you got up your sleeve?
Pardon?
So what do you got up your sleeve?
Oh, well, I'm gonna beg. So first of all, I am here tonight as the Substance Abuse Prevention Coordinator for our Tri-County area. What I am asking for is a bathroom wall, pictured here at the Constitution Park, to put some parents-empowered prevention messaging up. So a little bit of a background. When I took this position in 2007, we had the highest underage drinking rates in the state. At that time, I've looked into some stuff, and Parents Empowered is an evidence-based program that's been proven to reduce underage drinking. And it mainly goes off the concept that the best prevention is done in the homes, and we just need to encourage parents to be on top of what they need to be doing with their children. So between 2007 and 2019, we were continually pushing the Parents Empowered campaign where we could. And in that time frame, underage drinking in our area dropped by 62%. And not only were we not close to the highest, we were actually below the state average. Between 2019 and 2021, COVID hit. And we were not able to get out into the community and pushing these messages as much as and frequently as we'd like to. And in 2021, we saw a slight increase in underage drinking. What I want to do is I want to get back out into the community, and I'm asking for some help with giving us just some space to start promoting some prevention messaging. So Parents Empowered campaign, it is a statewide effort to eliminate underage drinking in Utah, and it's funded by a small percentage of the alcohol sales from the state liquor stores. So that's how this is funded. So what my proposal is I would love to have your permission partner with you, however you want to call that, to put a message on that side of that wall. So what I would be asking was that you would be providing a bathroom wall at Constitution Park, provide a contact from the city that I can work with. And then I would absolutely need your new logo so that I can put that out of the right colors. Parents Empowered will be creating the artwork for the display, so they'll be working with Northeastern Counseling Center and the Roosevelt City contact that we have. Northeastern Counseling will be providing the coordinator for the project, which would be me. And I would be arranging for all the installation or painting or the vinyl outlay, however is best for you. I'd love to coordinate with Art Parks and Recreations for the unveiling of this project. And I am able to provide all of the funding for the project and the unveiling. So I am asking for your help.
So
I have got some examples.
yeah,
I've done in other areas. The next, this one was an installation. So they've done these installations across the state. This installation was done at the Eccles Ice Center. And again, the message is parents, get your daily FaceTime with your kids. So they are promoting their messaging with what they're doing. The next. Okay. This is a billboard letting the parents outweigh peer pressure. One of these is actually on one of the garbage cans. K&K bought a garbage can from another area, so that's in here now. We did the garbage cans the garbage trucks years ago. Next. This is Combs Oak Park, where they did the diving tower with the no horsing around and made it into the water type stuff. Next. This one is in a mall in Utah County. Go together. They've actually did an installation of a tandem bike in front of this to take pictures. Just knowing that whatever your child's journey is, we need to do it together. And then, this is Weber County at a swimming pool. Just pushing that, again, setting clear rules about no underage drinking, not even one drop. And the next is some more on that. So they did the full installations, they've done doors, just different places in the swimming facility. Next. And this one was just an interactive display where the kids would actually go up there, so let thine rules be their shield against underage drinking. So it would be a message similar to this, appropriate for the ballpark. I have a couple ideas. I'm not on the creative team, but I absolutely have some ideas that I'd love to put on this wall. So that's what my ask is today, and I want to thank you for your time.
Thanks, Robin. First of all, I'd like to say, one, we appreciate all you do in our community.
Yes, very much.
You do a fantastic job, and I know that, you know, the preventative measures that you take and the information that you get out there to our public and helping our kids is invaluable, and we appreciate that. The only concern that I had when this first come up is painting a brick wall, but it looks like, I like what you've demonstrated, because it doesn't necessarily look like a painting. It looks like something that you can build actual frame for and then, you know, put it on, and it's something we could, if we needed to remove it in 20 years because we got old and haggard, we'd do it without affecting that. And I think that's, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely. They do have some installations where they have professionally attached them to buildings.
Yeah.
Also, they have done the vinyl wraps. I don't have a preference on how that I really want the messaging. So just some of the other things is that it was the Parents Empowered campaign that was pushed at the dinner in the park that was very successful here.
Yeah.
The last time we were there. So that's what my ask is.
So, any questions for Robin or any suggestions?
I just have one. I noticed the pool. Do you have money if we check and if there's other places in the city? I'm not saying the pool necessarily, but just would you have money to do other places if we opted to do
I
that?
go after money all the time for our area, so I will ask, if you have an idea,
Well, I'm just,
I can
I'm
say
just
I-
thinking of other
I
places.
have another area that I love, and I haven't been able to get a commitment out of that. But I was told if I ever do get the commitment from that area, they will find the money for me. So, because they really like that too, so.
Is that in Roosevelt City?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get the permission to do it? We'll talk after.
I'll go ahead and say what I would, I would love the great big huge space underneath the drive-in.
Oh.
To have that painted up nice and pushed through, that's what I would love, it's bigger than any billboard, it goes right in there, I would love.
Interesting thought. Well, on this, like I said, I'm going to vote, but I'm all for it, especially if it was something that would attach to the building instead of a vinyl or a paint. Deal with, but I don't know, how does the council feel? Yes, Dustin.
That would be my only concern. I think it's great, it's awesome, but there is vandalism up there. Is it a material that we can spray a graffiti removal and just wipe it off and it won't affect it at all? Just
I will check, I will check, and again, there's no time commitment. If it looks, if somebody does damage it and it looks bad, absolutely it needs to be come off, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not asking.
If it were paint, that graffiti removal will definitely mix it up. But if it's more of a wrap or whatever you call it, I think it would just paint, they painted on would come right off so we can keep it looking nice.
And again, if we had some type of a frame that it was on or, you know, it was attached to it, if somebody graffitied it and we couldn't get it off, we could at least replace it without,
Yeah.
you know, affecting the building much. Yeah. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think, how do you feel?
It's a good idea. I like it.
Great spot.
Yeah.
I move we approve them.
Taking into consideration.
Yes, taking in consideration, well, that I would expect on her slideshow, she said she'd work with someone at the city, so I assume it'd be Dustin and possibly Josh or Ryan or someone else in the city to help with that, but yes.
Okay, and then it would be something that would be attached to the building.
Right, yeah, we prefer not paint, but something attached.
Perfect, I can make that happen.
Excellent, so we have a motion by Councilman Lucenbark, do we have a second? Second by Councilman Allen, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
So Dustin's my contact?
Yeah, Dustin and Josh, work with Dustin and Josh.
Okay.
And, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
And the unveiling, so.
Okay, and if you have ideas with what's trying to, let me know. I have ideas what I'd like to see.
Maybe we can coordinate, with, one of the events that we have out there or something like that.
Perfect.
Yeah. Right there, and that's kind of slowed down, so you can work something that way.
Yeah, the sleigh
If
ride
you
down
find
there.
other money,
I was looking at the other stuff, and some kind of play right deal.
We don't have, are you hoping for more snow or what?
I'd like the water to
So I was
go.
gonna say, I don't think this will take till next December. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you for your time.
We really appreciate it, and we're excited for that. XCL secondary water purchase agreement. Ryan said he's gonna go get drunk after this, so. I don't know whether to approve that or not.
Wow.
Ryan.
Speaking of, you know, just what Robin got in.
I didn't say that. Ryan, I love you. I don't know what's wrong with the mayor, but
Smiling, he knows I'm gonna talk to him after this.
Slander.
Speaking of water, I made a phone call today in San Wash, hopefully April 1st, it's gonna be full. So 2 weeks and we'll be topped off, so good news. We don't want to slow that hill right now, so. The secondary water purchase agreement with XCL, you all are pretty familiar with already. We've been talking about it the last year. The first step was getting the vault agreement and we passed it, and just a quick update on it. They have cut the line and welded in the T and put the valves in, so we're, 2 to 3 weeks away from being being done on that, so
When did they start that project?
about 2 weeks ago.
I thought it was gonna take, 2, 3, 4 months to get that done. I'm glad, I mean, that means they're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah, well,
I'm glad about
the
that.
HI is working hard on it, and they're putting hours in. They built in the warehouse too, so we have to drop it in. But as far as changes go from the last time you've seen this, probably the biggest change that I'll just discuss is the acre feet. They're committed to 600 acre feet, and the way they're gonna pay for that is obviously through, as they use it. We will bill them per acre foot, $8.96, but also at the end, if they don't use all that, it's in, what section is it? 4.2, it's a true up fee, so they'll pay for all the rest on the back end to make up.
We just wanted to make sure that if we set out a block of water, 600 acre feet, and they pay as they go, and then they get halfway into it and say, now we don't want the other 300 feet, well, that's hard for us to then try to remarket that to somebody else. So this was the best way Ryan and Grant came up with to make sure that we are made whole for setting that water aside. We do have a total of 1,500 acre feet that's available. And I think there was a contingency in there that we would give them an additional
up to 1,200.
Yeah, to 1,200 acre feet if they choose at the same price, but they're committed at a minimum of 6.
That's true. It is a 1-year term, so obviously at the end of the year, there's no changes, then we'll continue.
And just for the members of the public as well, so what happened, the reason why we're able to sell this water is we had 3,000 acre feet of water in Sandwash Reservoir. We use about 1,500 acre feet for our secondary system now, but that's the maximum we can use. The other 1,500 acre feet was going down the river to satisfy fish flows, and the state was paying the contract on that. The state decided not to continue that contract, and so we didn't get stuck, but we became responsible of that other 1,500 acre feet, and it was either give it back or keep it. And so we kept it, but we have to pay the bill whether we use it or not. And so this is a way that we can sell the water and pay for the bill. We don't have anywhere for it to go otherwise, and so we just be paying for that, and the citizens would be paying without being compensated. Let's keep.
Are you selling the water right or just water?
Just the water. Yeah, we're maintaining that right. Yeah. And it's illegal to sell, for us to sell any water rights or shares of water.
And Mayor, you might have too, that the XL had to do all the work on the T and everything, right?
Yeah.
We didn't pay for any of that.
Yeah, we didn't have to pay for any of that. XCL's paying for the turnout. And that was the contract that we signed prior to. And so really it gives us an option. Is it the 201?
203.
203 pipeline is basically, we're the only user in the pipeline anyway. And so this just allows us to divert our water further up the line, which gives us more flexibility in who can purchase that.
Where is this diversion point?
Iowa Lane, but it's what mile marker about? It's probably 8 miles.
Like Taylor's, Taylor's.
Jimmy Taylor.
Which is where the trails are. There's a bunch of trails right off.
Shane Shiner is a little further to the north, but it's basically directly south of Shane Steiner's place there on Iowa.
One thing I might add to that too, Mayor, is the city is got this big lump of water that we're trying to figure out in the bill, obviously. So this is kind of a temporary. It's actually helping us build our system so we can build upon our own secondary lines and get the water out to the residents here. So it's actually, it's helping us big time get to that next phase.
It's a win-win-win.
And this is a standard contract we've had before, right? There's not any.
It's real similar to the ones we used to sell water before. It does have provisions in there that if we need the water for Roosevelt citizens, which includes businesses, that we can terminate the contract immediately. I think Ryan's covered really all the other contracts.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the council? Seeing none, would entertain a motion.
I'll move we approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, Councilman Busenbacher, second by Councilman Cloward. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Ryan? I just have to say, this has been, I know I made a little comment, nobody caught it because nobody understands really. But Ryan's put a lot of time and effort in this for the last year, and it was something that I'll just leave it at that. It probably should have went a little quicker. But he hung in there and made it happen. Grant was right along there, working it, and appreciate all their efforts, and that's going to be a benefit in a lot of different ways to our residents. So we're going to forego the equipment surplus contract. We had a few questions. Josh had a few questions for them that they didn't get back to him on, and so he said, go ahead and cancel that. City Streets bid award, turn the time to Kirby.
This is for the 2022 City Street projects, not to be confused with the State Street project. So we had the bid opening on March 8th at Jones and Mill. And so we're here tonight to present that bid, hopefully to be awarded by the council. Before I turn some time over to Jeff with the details, I'd like to mention, you guys all know that we rebid this. We originally bid it and we thought it was high. So by rebidding it and the city purchasing the pipe and everything at an earlier date, we saved approximately $230,000.
And last year, the bid was about 1.3 million, and that was the hope that we'd save some money by waiting until this year.
Absolutely. Jeff, I'll turn the time over to Jeff Baker, Johnson.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
You bet. We'll let Ryan figure out where he's at. So I think.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any questions first. For the list right there, either one. Trying to think the talk of Kirby, the map's probably old, but the streets are, and I think you're gonna have to give me a list. 100 north, there, just north of the new library building, from 200 west to State Street, and also that would be 100 west from there up to 121. And then we kind of have the same kind of T thing going on over by the post office. So, south from 300 east, 500 east. And so these are not only streets, most of these also have, either we're replacing like a transite water line in there, the asbestos cement water lines, or adding secondary water in there, a few other minor things. We do have the street up there between L and Strata. And then down behind Stewart's, we have, our project is to mill that up, sweep it up with some millings from the city, and just kind of recompact it. It's not a permanent fix, but it should be better than the major potholes that are there right now, and easier for the streets department to maintain until proper funding can be acquired to reconstruct that. So the bids did come in somewhat favorable. It's been hard to estimate projects lately. As probably most people know, costs are continuously rising, but we were able to still come in significantly cheaper than the bid we received last year. The bid this year was from Terry Brothers Excavation, which the city's had quite a bit of experience working with in the past. They're a really good company. And I know Paul had ordered all the parts early last year, pipes, doubled, tripled in price in some cases. So right now, if you'll go to the budget sheet, it looks like that, right?
So originally Kirby kind of came with, initial budget, I don't remember what the first number was, $600,000 or $700,000, and we did a lot of the engineering off of that. And got started, we had that first bid. And then he took some of it, the funding there, and with Paul and purchased materials. So that, the top kind of gray budget area is probably not really representative of what fully we were anticipating, but down in the orange, you can see I've broken down the bid from Terry Brothers Excavating into kind of 3 sections. The first at the top there would be the roadway improvements, so that would be all the asphalt, the milling, any curb and gutter replacement where needed, some of those things that would need to happen. So the plan on this is Kirby and the city's kind of been tired of patching road trenches, as you see all over the place, and so we're trying to match up the utility replacements with the roads that need to be redone as well. So all of these roads will actually receive entirely new surfacing after the utilities are put in, so they just won't be patched. So then there's culinary water improvements. That's almost all of that is transite line replacement for that $212,000, and then secondary water should be additions probably. So all of that would just be new secondary water lines that could serve other homes and a few businesses and a few other things. So, and then we threw an estimate of what the city had purchased in materials down there, and then the engineering fees, and then give you kind of a snapshot of the whole thing. So realistically, we're, for the full project, looking at the 1.2, and I think the hope is with Kirby and talking to the other departments that the council and departments can come together to provide enough funding to do that entire project, or award at least a portion of it that they're agreeable to.
And I talked to Josh a little bit today about some of the monies that we have, and correct me if I talked to you, you told me yesterday, he had shared with me that as far as money that Roosevelt City has, we could probably go ahead and complete the whole project with this one.
Is this on the master plan, these roads, or are these just ones that need to be done because of some of those, I know Mike Stewart's.
Master plan, but maybe in the master plan, so the council understands, they'll put a list of what needs to be done, but they don't prioritize how we do them, that's up to us. But yes, it is.
Okay.
To answer your
And
question.
Kirby does have a list of priority roads, kind of taken from the master plan, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Rhonda, what do you think about this?
First, kudos to Kirby that he had enough forethought to have this broken down for me so that I could actually see, what portion of this is. Going through the budget, I think there's a very strong potential. We have some wiggle room in the water and secondary water budgets from this year. We definitely could look at, going into the new budget year, depending on how quickly we get all of this going. Just assuming we're not gonna have all this.
Yeah, realistically, this is not gonna be done before the new budget year opens.
Yeah, so, and there again, the pipe and materials, that was a decision that again was made towards the end of last budget year, that we would go ahead, since we had the funding in place, and acquire those materials. That has been a huge, huge savings to the city. And so, and we've got all that, still Word of Mouth land, right?
Nope, it's under our cover.
Okay, we've got it, all right.
We got
Yeah, they might sell it.
So,
They might.
in your opinion, we could bite off on the whole project?
I really think that yes, we're
Okay.
probably sitting in a position where we can.
And one of the things that came up in the bid opening meeting is, I think in the past, it's been, if we have a road improvement project, a lot of times the road funds will pay for the other improvement, like the culinary water improvements and things like that. And I had mentioned in that meeting, we shouldn't do that, because that gives us the wrong data that we need to make sure when we're replacing these lines and things like that. We need to figure that in those other just because really the water budget should be paying for water, sewer budget should be paying for sewer in that infrastructure, and not the roads paying for that, because that covers that up, and then we can't see if we're actually charging what we need to for the correct O&M and everything else. And so I appreciate them breaking that out and making sure that those funds come out of those different accounts, so that we have an accounting of what it's actually costing us for each one of those utilities. That way we know how to price our, what we charge our residents, and also how we plan moving forward, looking for other funding. So appreciate that. Any questions from the council?
No, kudos. Thanks for having some forethought there and saving the city money. That's great.
Okay, well, I guess now's the time to approve or not approve.
Based on Rhonda's recommendation and Kirby's, I recommend we approve the whole project as it's been presented.
Now, do we have to award the bid?
Yes.
So do I need to put that in the motion that we
So
awarded?
we need to talk about who actually got the bid.
Yes. So Terry Brothers Excavating was actually the only bid. There were quite a few people interested, but I think a lot of people filled up. Even Kirby did a lot of work preparing Terry and his guys to actually bid on that. So that was good. There were 7 or 8 plan holders on the bid list, so it's not like we didn't have competition, but this is the only bid turned in on bid day. So it would be their bid, and can I see those? I'll actually read you the number. How about
I just
that?
wanted to make sure we had.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
That way you can
Thank
put the
you.
number.
And just for clarification, so if you look at everything that above the pre-purchase price, it's about $1 million, barely over $1 million, and that was the number that was 1.3 before, and that's why we say, we said 1.3 and now it's 1.245. Well, apples to apples, it was
The
about,
construction bid price last time was 1.3.
yeah, exactly.
So this is the bid from Terry R. Brothers Excavating, and it is for $1,057,619.01.
So that would need to be,
Included in the motion. And you said we've done work with them
Yes.
and you're comfortable, Kirby? Okay, then I'll add that to the motion that we approve the bid from Terry Brotherson Excavating for the projects and do all of them.
for the amount
For
of,
the amount of $1,057,619.01.
okay. Do we have a second? We have a second by Councilman White, all in favor?
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
I'll leave these with Josh and just have you sign these, Mayor. Excellent. He gets some time.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. All right, Grant, back to you with the EBNC land donation, and then we'll just have you go right into the city lease, hangar lease agreements as well.
So we've got the proposed agreement ready for you tonight for the donation of the property from the hospital to the city there north of the hospital. I think all of you are familiar with the project, right? Okay, so the project has been scaled down from what it was at certain times when it's been talked about. What we're settling on for our obligations is in section 1.41. While we're getting down to it, the way that the transaction is going to work, since public funds would be expended on the project, is that they're going to go ahead and transfer it to the city right away. It's still got to be subdivided 1.4. As soon as reasonably practical, the land will be transferred to the city, and then this list right here, from A down through K, are things that we're committing to do by July 31st of 2023. There are provisions in here that with the hospital's agreement, they can give us extensions, 6 months at a time. But if they decide they're not gonna give extensions or won't do it any longer, and we haven't completed the list, A through K, then we would have to purchase the property from them for a price of $134,000. I've worked with Ryan, Josh, and JR fairly closely on this. I think that we're very comfortable that we can complete all of the things that we're agreeing to. There are a few in the list, specifically the fishing pond and the pavilion, that we don't have complete control over whether or not they'll be finished, just because we're relying on third parties to help with that. So the wording in here is just that we'll make a good faith effort to have those done. Also, the easements that extend beyond the property, that we'll make a good faith effort to get those, and reasonable efforts to make or to obtain donations. And the paving of some of the trails could also be delayed a little bit, depending on how long it takes to finish the pond and pavilion. The only reason is we don't want to pave them and then have to have heavy equipment crossing over those for construction. But unless you want me to read through the list, it's like, I can tell you that staff believes that we can complete it within a lot of time.
And to add to what Grant said, there's been a lot of work done to make sure that we're not gonna, there were some provisions that they wanted to put in there, with how the land transfer was gonna happen, and if we didn't fulfill with this, what was gonna happen after that. But it was settled that we just purchased the property. But there's been a lot of effort to make sure that we're not gonna get caught, one, not being able to finish something, and then have that happen, or two, put some work into it and then not end up with the land, even if we did have to purchase it, so.
Overall, I'm comfortable with the agreement. The hospital's been good to work with. It's been pretty flexible on accommodating all of our requests. They didn't kick any of them back to us. There are two other things I wanted to point out, just so you're aware. We're making a decision whether or not to approve it. There is a spot where we will have to pay for the title insurance policy. We don't know how much that's going to be. It's in section 2.3.1, so it's blank right now. I'm not concerned with that. We'll just be paying whatever the going rate is. I'm sure the reason the hospital wanted it in there, just to make it clear that we're responsible for those, where they're donating the property. They don't want to pay for the process to give it to us. And then the legal description, there is an exhibit A on the very bottom. That, it's not blank right now. It says that will be determined during the subdivision process, but we don't have the legal description quite yet. It'll be surveyed during the subdivision, but I'm comfortable with that language right now.
And you mentioned that, sorry, Jim actually texted and said if you have any questions, we can ring him in as well, but you mentioned 134,000 is what we'd be on the hook if we weren't able to complete that.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, you answered the ones I had, so I appreciate you addressing those.
Okay. Seeing no further questions, would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Councilman White. Second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. That's good to have done. We can get really rolling on that thing.
Yeah. Thanks for all the work on that. I know that the hospital was a little leery at the beginning, and I can understand that, so I'm glad we're in a better place now.
Okay. Grant, we'll turn the time back to you.
Okay, next is the hangar lease agreement. This is for the hangar that the city owns, here often referred to as the main hangar. And it's not for the entire structure, it's just for spaces inside the hangar. And drafting it was a little bit awkward because there's not designated parking stalls or anything like that. And in fact, the way that the layout is and where the aircraft are parked, if they're parked in the back, the aircraft in front of them needs to be moved or jostled around to get those aircraft out. This is really just trying to formalize what has already been happening with the people who are renting space there. That the term we've decided will be, and this agreement is intended to be something that Taylor can use when somebody comes in, wants to rent a space, that you've basically approved a form. We won't do it for each one that we enter, or each tenant that we enter into an agreement with in front of you guys. Taylor will be just able to enter the information, and the agreement will begin on whatever the date is they come. He'll prorate the first month. They'll have the option to make either monthly, quarterly, or annual payments. All of the agreements, regardless of when they start, will end on June 30th of the following. Well, I guess it would always be the following year. So they'll never go more than 12 months. Does that make sense? So it's putting it on the city's fiscal year. The only reason for that is so that it's easy for Taylor to know when to send out notices telling them that they need to renew. Right? For the compensation, we've decided that it will be based on the fee schedule. So each time you guys review the fee schedule in the future, now there will just be a line for the main hangar leases, and we have it in there as amended. If the people who have the contracts either don't, if they want to be heard, they have to come to the public hearing to talk about what the rate will be. If they don't want to continue it with us, either side can get out of this agreement on 30 days notice. Because the tenants sometimes have to move each other's aircraft in order to get in and out, there are provisions in there that they are waiving liability for the city for their aircraft and accepting liability for any damage that they would do to another tenant's. There's provisions in there to say that they have to basically keep it clutter-free and not interfere with the quiet enjoyment of other tenants. And there are provisions in there, and this is one that we might look at closely, provision number 13, that this is requiring them to keep insurance policies. I didn't talk to anybody about the limits, just picked them from our other hangar lease agreements at $250,000 per person, $500,000 per incident. If you guys want something different, just let me know and I can amend it.
Do we know if that's standard? Those, or is that just?
This is, I didn't do any research into that for this specific agreement. What I did is pulled the numbers that we were using for the other hangars. That those are private hangars where they're leasing the land and paying us per square foot. I kind of think that they should just be the same, but we haven't been required in that. This will be an addition and obviously an increase in expense to the people who are using this hangar.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I have mixed feelings on that because you definitely want to have some coverage if they were to damage somebody else's plane or be the cause of damage to somebody else's plane.
It goes even a little bit beyond that for the concerns that I have, that if in the process, I don't know, say somebody's hit by a propeller or something when they're moving their plane in and out, and then there can be some pretty serious liability. And that's the reason why I have the limits the same for both.
That brings up the question for me, does Roosevelt City, would we want to have a policy on that hangar?
We probably do. Well, not probably, we do ourselves. But this agreement is saying that they're waiving any liability against us. Okay. And then there are indemnification provisions where somebody tried to sue us. The theory is that their insurance would be the ones that pay for it if they have it, but if we don't require it, I can see, even with the liability waivers, the possibility of the court saying that we were gonna pay. JR, we're your pilot. What is standard for just carrying insurance for the plane itself?
It's not near that high.
It's not.
No, I think it's
Is it like 5,300, like similar to an automobile?
yeah. So it's the hangar, that's different, but for the plane itself, usually the insurance will cover, you know, you actually tell the insurance company what you want to cover that plane as far as the hull, the fuselage, you know, and the value of the plane. And then I think it's only like 50 or 100,000 per person per instance or something like that. It's not, it's quite a bit less than that.
Is that something that is required, like it is for automobiles, or is it just up
to the pilot actually? So that's and not to say that we shouldn't do that. I'm just trying to figure out.
Well, and I'm not dead set on the numbers I put in here. That's why I'm trying to bring it up and specifically point it out so that you guys can talk about it, decide what you think's appropriate.
You know what? I know some people over in Bernal that have been in the aviation sector for a long, long time. And I wonder, and he's actually an insurance agent also, because I'm thinking of how convenient or easy it would be to get a policy like this, you know, because if it's, depending on how difficult it is, but I want to talk to him and see if they insure the plane, if it's kind of like a dual coverage, if they can cover some of this under that same insurance that they pay for the plane. Does that make sense? Just to add, it wouldn't be much, even maybe $100 a year or something like that when they're insuring their plane that would cover this. I just want to see the ease of that. But I mean, it doesn't change what you're suggesting other than I don't know how feasible it is. But even if we don't rent it, we're not out a lot either, you know, so it's not a big deal that way. And I can see why you put that in there. Maybe, I don't know. Normally I just take your recommendation and say, let's do it.
I'm not necessarily,
you know,
I do think that we should have some kind of insurance requirement there. The amount, I don't know. And that's, again, why I'm pointing it out, is I'm not sure whether the amount's appropriate or not.
Can we table this till next time and do a little more research, at least on that part? Because I don't want to, you know, charge so much that it's like I'm not going to even bother. But at the same token, I agree with Grant. I think we need something.
We need some protection, you know, for sure. I'm just trying to figure out how to administer that. Because that would mean each pilot we would have to have within a certain period of time, I'm sure, after signing this, that they would present proof of insurance, and if they didn't, then the lease would be null and void.
Right.
How does it read?
Well, it says that it's not necessarily it would be null and void. It would be a material breach if they didn't have insurance, and so we could terminate that. But the termination provisions in this are pretty easy for both sides anyway.
It says
30-day notice.
Tenant's failure to, let's see, can you scroll down just to maintain said policy shall be a material breach of the agreement and shall also be complete waiver of tenant's right to seek damages against landlord. Okay. Just wondering what the repercussions would be. If you want, I can talk to him. How does that affect you, Taylor? Where you're trying to put all this together, and is it gonna, if we table this and wait till next meeting, is it gonna hurt your feelings?
No, it doesn't affect, it's just trying to get a handle on who's there, what, and get these agreements updated, and so that way I know who's being billed, kind of get this back under control.
As a practical matter, this wouldn't be
Can we do
It's
this?
really useful until we update the fee schedule anyway.
Right.
And it was just today that we made decisions to change it from a monthly rate to tie it to the fee schedule.
Sure.
And so we're gonna need to do that before it works the way it is anyway.
Gotcha. And that's what I was thinking. I didn't know if you brought up the fees, but we were gonna put the fees in the fee schedule so that those are adjusted. And this will just refer to the fee schedule, so they would have to be aware of that. And that's when you had already mentioned that it would come before the council as a public hearing, and that's when they could voice their concern if the fee was going up. But, and then I had a thought about, we could approve it subject to legal counsel review on this also.
You can, but the reason we talk about the fee schedule, I would be advising Taylor not to use it until something's adopted anyway.
So, looks like we need to update our fee schedule by next meeting, and then we'll have this ready. So unless,
I
so,
agree with that. I don't think we're quite ready.
all right, so is that a motion to table?
Yes, I move we table this till next month. Or next meeting, whichever.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Clower to table till next session, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we'll have it on the agenda and along with the fee schedule associated with it, so. Anything else, Grant?
Oh, that's it.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question. How many planes does that hangar hold?
That's the other thing that I was we ought to get with Taylor and go out there and look at the space and realistically decide how many we can fit in there. And then just stick to that. Because I think at one point there was way
There was a bit of a pain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that brings up another thing, but any questions for Grant?
No.
Okay, thanks again, Grant. We wanted to get a new roof and everything on that hangar so that we can get all the old insulation out and start really sprucing that up. And so I just don't want that to get lost either. I know it was over budget last time, and so we tabled that as well. But that's probably something that we need to look at doing fairly soon. So. All right, with that, UB Tech security agreement removal, we decided, Chief Watkins wanted to look over that and make sure that he felt comfortable with it and his guys felt comfortable with it. So we're going to cut that from the agenda tonight.
Thank you. I wanted to ask about it anyway, so I'm glad you're going to review that first before. Sometimes we kind of just, prove those without maybe reevaluating and see if there's anything that needs to be adjusted. So I appreciate that.
Excellent. Purchase orders.
I looked at them. I didn't have any questions. Thanks, Rhonda. That was pretty self-explanatory. It looks like the Hayden tank, we're probably getting towards the end of our payments on that.
Just run out of money.
Well, I looked at that. We're looking pretty good still on the budget.
So why the other two councilmen didn't pass the purchase orders down so they could take a look and sign? While we're doing that, Josh, do you want to give us a manager's report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Bake, I mean.
Just by way of note, just for information, it's springtime, there's a lot of projects coming. We have a lot of projects on my board in my office. If you haven't been in there, please come take a look. But we are aggressively pushing to get a lot of those crossed off this year. So a lot of projects coming, a lot of good things happening that are right on the horizon. So we'll keep you updated on those. I do want to take this opportunity to brag about 3 people. First, and this was already mentioned, Ryan, he's worked so hard on XCL. I've only been a part of it for 6 months out of this last year, but honestly, he has done amazing work there and really looking out for the best interest of the city to make sure that we're making those payments and taking care of our obligations. Second, our police department. As you know, last week was an incredibly terrifying week for the city as a whole.
And our police department stepped up, did an incredible thing, and on a national level has really shined, and they deserve to be recognized for their incredible efforts. So just so impressed with our chief, our police department. We got some incredible officers. And finally, Grant, as you've seen, we've been throwing so many contracts at him lately. I don't know how he's keeping it all straight.
I was just giving, well, we were talking about compensation, but I was thinking.
He's happy to write another contract. But really, I want to recognize him that he's been phenomenal. When we have a question for him, he gets us an answer extremely fast. As I mentioned, I could go on and on. We have so many incredible employees that are doing such wonderful things. As a manager responsibility, it's so easy when you've got such incredible people to work with, and the staff just all needs to be recognized for the incredible work that they're doing, the progress that we're making with the community and making things happen and bettering our lives. And that's what it's all about here in the city. Any questions for me?
I was wondering about the city cleanup. Do we have a date from K&K yet on that?
I know you guys heard anything. And I'll follow up on that.
Because they usually have a free dump day in April. So I just want to make sure we're aware, and if we could get that advertised.
Be kind of close. I think it's towards the end of April, if I'm not mistaken, isn't
I think it's middle, but
Is it middle?
but it changes, so that's why I said.
Maybe we'll have to have our meeting at the beginning of April and get that Interfaith Council in place.
I was also wondering about, this is probably more for Dustin, but where we are on the mud dye.
I actually just spoke with Tim Miller on Monday, and they said they would either have it done at the end of this week or next week. And so we can put the sign up anytime in April.
Were you planning some sort of event or anything?
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you guys and kind of get some ideas. What direction would you like to go? I've talked with their family, with Mutt's family, and they're really excited and very appreciative of it. Just have a little unveiling of the sign. Is that something we want to do big or just as family? What's the best way to go with that?
I'd say we leave that up to you and the staff.
I agree with
as
the
big-
mayor on
as
that.
big as you want to go. I mean, you were the closest to him.
Okay.
And so just do it.
I'll get some ideas. I know we have a lot of great help from the city, Rhonda or Sunshine or somebody like that. Give some plans, so.
Make sure you keep the paper in the loop on that, and they
Will
can
do, for sure.
do that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I just want to reiterate what you said, well, with all of the staff and Mark, Chief Watkins, what a 180 our police department has had, and instead of we just give them the positive publicity, and that's been a breath of fresh air. So appreciate all you do, and my phone hasn't been ringing near as much as that has in the past, which is fantastic.
Mine rings more, which is awesome.
The communications,
Yeah.
which is fantastic as well. Yeah, it's a good time to be involved with Roosevelt City. You have anything else, Councilman Blusenbart?
No, the financials, are we good to?
Yep, I think everybody's seen those.
Do I need to move to approve those?
You should.
I just did.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Then you already said you didn't have any committee reports, right?
No, I don't have any committee
Councilman
reports.
White, do you have anything for us?
No, ULTP's been busy with the legislature, and that's done. Our next meeting will be at the ULTP conference in St. George next month,
That's in April. Is that the 20th
20th through the 22nd.
So if you haven't signed up as a council member, if you haven't signed up for that and you'd like to go give it a drop, he's been reserving rooms. I think I'm going, well, I know I'm going, I think.
I just texted Brock because I never did. He said he would register me, but he never did send me a confirmation. So I'm guessing he did.
I think Councilman Baird's going, you're going, and anybody else that would like to attend, to get with him. And Cody, we'd love to have you down there. You can make it. Darn it. All right.
Schedule a softball. Somebody in his family wants to.
We scheduled in St. George, so we'd be there already. Anything else for us? As Mr. Bake has mentioned, we have several projects. You know, we've got one in particular that we've been waiting a long time, that's the gun range. And we're either gonna have to get that done or just get it done. There's no two ways about it. So we've been waiting for a grant. I think we'll wait a little bit longer, but this year is the year that we need to get a lot of these things done. So with that, I can't think of any other things that I have other than if you're assigned to some of these committees that we mentioned tonight, if you can mention to the committee chairs and the committees themselves, and maybe we can get an email out to all the councilmen where we still have a few seats that are needing to be filled. So if you're assigned to those committees, if you wouldn't mind just mentioning to them to try to recruit and get the word out that we're looking for good people to serve on those committees and need all the help we can get to get those filled. So.
Thanks, Mayor, for mentioning that. I was gonna ask Sunshine if she'd send that out again, because I didn't see it and I forgot already.
Now, is that the assignments?
Yeah, the committee assignments, yeah.
Okay, so will you send out the council assignments and then also what committee vacancies that we have? And then
Yes.
we'll ask the council to kind of work on their committees that they're assigned to. Robbie, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, so Parks and Rec's been working pretty hard along with a lot of community members on the Lamb of God. And that is this weekend, I believe.
Yeah, Sunday at
Sunday,
3 and
6. And so they wanted me to talk a little bit about that. And then I think that's everything.
They sure do a great job, the Arts Parks Rec group.
Yeah.
It's been a really fun thing to be on.
It's been interesting to see. I know we've got Brent and Dustin running from one end to the other, which is exactly what they wanted to see happen. But, thanks, Rowdy. Councilman Allen, do you have anything for us tonight?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Do we have any items that we want to consider for future discussion that we need to bring up? Okay, not besides the ones we've already mentioned that'll come to the next meeting. Closed session, I don't see any need to have one.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. We haven't had a closed session for quite a while.
I know, that's what I'm thinking, it's nice.
We will have one, honestly, there are some things that we're looking at, that has to do with property and things like that. And so that'll probably come before the council, most likely at the next meeting. That's all I'll say for now.
We will have a meeting the week of the OCD conference.
Well, that's the question. Do you want to have the meeting at the beginning of April, or should we hold it that same week? Because that conference, is it on Wednesday that it starts?
Yeah.
And the meeting will be on Tuesday, so how does the council feel? We have the work meeting scheduled for the 1st of April.
Well, I'm wondering about the time frame for Grant to get his thing done, and you with the hangar, right?
There's really nothing on Wednesday that you don't have to be down there in the morning. I don't think there's anything to tell.
Oh, okay. Maybe we just keep it on the 19th then? Does that sound good to everyone? Okay.
I'm good with that.
All right. Excellent. Well, if there's nothing else, would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Okay. We'll consider ourselves adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.